Welcome. And as you start to join, maybe taking a few moments to settle, seeing if where you're sitting is comfortable. Sometimes these little micro adjustments can make such a big difference when we're practicing meditation, checking out our position, how our body feels, maybe a support underneath your feet, noticing the temperature of the room if you need to be cooler or warmer. All right. All right. So we're going to get started today. So good morning. So nice to be together for this week of well-being in the law. I'm Tracy Myers. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm a staff clinician at Lawyers Concern for Lawyers, and also a member of the New England chapter of Mindfulness in the Law. And so I'm really happy to be here today to talk about and practice together with this idea of coming into presence. So we use terms sometimes like coming into presence, mindfulness, but it's actually hard to know exactly how to do that. And so I like to think about first going over a little bit of the components of what presence means. And then we'll do a practice to explore what that feels like for you. And of course, with mindfulness practice, it's not like there's a right way to do it. And in fact, it really is your own unique experience, right? So, as I talk about some of the steps, really recognizing that for you, it may look different. But the most important thing is really our intention, our sincerity to practice. So I'm going to start with a PowerPoint because that always helps to sort of break things down in my mind. And then we'll dive into practice. Okay. All right. So I wanted to start with a poem by Wendell Berry. Some of you may be familiar. And I think this poem speaks to why meditation can be so valuable, especially for lawyers and legal professionals who are grappling with so many challenges in their professional life, in your daily life, in your work life, harmony. So, the peace of wild things. This is an excerpt from Wendell's poem. And I like to use poetry as a way to come into presence. So maybe even here, closing your eyes and just letting the words sort of gently land where they do. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great Huron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For the time I rest in their grace of the world and am free. And so, as we grapple with so many internal and external worries and concerns, this respite, this ability to rest in the grace of the world, right? Even if it's just for a few moments, can be so powerful. So today I'd like to invite us to think about presence in three sort of stages. And for some of you who have a regular practice, this may be really familiar. And for those of you who are working on integrating more mindfulness into your daily life, this may be a helpful way to think about this. So essentially, we can start with the pause. And the pause is really this ability to check in and say, here I am, right? So we'll talk about each of these real briefly. So pause and then coming into presence, and we'll talk about What are some tools to actually come in using the senses, using our breath? And finally, to proceed, which is this idea of coming back into the world after we practice with more mindful awareness, with more compassion. So the pause is this ability to stop and take a breath and drop in and really notice this moment. And when I guide our practice today, you'll see these three components showing up. Okay. So Tara Brach, who's a beautiful meditation teacher, she talks about the sacred pause. And I love that idea of bringing almost this relishing of the pause. It's not just a space between things that we're doing, but it's this intentional cultivation of sacredness, of taking this moment to be with ourselves. So the sacred pause. And then coming into presence, which involves dropping into the body. So the body is one of the quickest ways to come into presence because the sensations in the body are always in the present moment, right? So we can start to work on noticing the senses, noticing what's happening in the body, starting then to expand that to include our thoughts and our feelings. And then there's this acceptance component, this ability to be with what's here without reactivity. And that's not easy. That's where the practice part comes in, right? At first, when we come into presence, we may notice a lot of reactivity, feeling uncomfortable about a pain in our neck or feeling anxious about something going on in the day. So often the reactivity is an initial stage of coming into presence. And then we begin to soften around them so that what we observe, what happens in the present moment, we notice it and we can be with it. And then the third part is this proceed. It's using mindfulness after we've come into presence, we've paused to be more skillful and to respond more compassionately. And I'm sure many of you have done some mindfulness practice, maybe once or twice, or many of you have practiced for many, many years. But this idea that after we practice, something's changed, something's shifted in us. We're often less reactive, more compassionate, more capable of listening and being with others, and more importantly, being with ourselves, less judgmental. And often we feel more energized as well. So this proceed really comes after the pause and coming into presence. It's this natural inclination to be with what's happening in a slightly changed way, in a different way. So those are the three P's of coming into presence. And I'm going to stop sharing now. So our opportunity is to practice this and get a sense of what this actually feels like in our own nervous system, our own bodies. And just this invitation not to judge whatever comes up. This is an opportunity to explore and to be curious rather than judging or feeling like, I'm not doing this right. You can't do it wrong, I promise. Okay. All right, so we're going to begin our practice now, and I'm going to invite us to start with our eyes open. So many of us, when we go into meditation, we close our eyes, we kind of go inside right away. But actually, part of pausing is to be aware of what's happening around us. So with your eyes open, I'm going to invite you to orient a little bit and just look around your space, okay? You can look around the room you're in, noticing the different colors and shapes, just taking in what it's like in this space in this moment. And then beginning to tune in to the sounds around you. Maybe you hear traffic, the sound of a fan, birds, voices. Just letting the soundscape around you come right to you. Becoming aware of the support underneath you, the feeling of the chair supporting your legs and your back, feeling the contact of the floor underneath your feet. Just feeling the gravity of your body. And if you haven't already, now perhaps closing your eyes. We begin our practice starting by coming into contact with the senses. And now I'm going to invite you to begin to take a few breaths. Just letting the movement of your breath collect your attention. Letting the breath begin to find its natural rhythm. We begin to pause now. Just take a moment to become aware of our body. So as you're sitting, just simply notice, how am I feeling in my body right now? Notice if there's any tensions in the body. Any areas of the body that may need a little softening. Perhaps gently scanning the body, beginning at the top of the head and seeing if you can soften the eyes, forehead, jaw, and mouth. And softening the neck and shoulders, just releasing any unnecessary tension. Relaxing the arms and the hands. Relaxing the belly. Relaxing the legs, feet. Just becoming aware of all the sensations in the body. The essence of this sacred pause is mindfulness. It's being aware. We're just opening to this fresh awareness. In a way, the pause is this beginning, this clear space, just resting in the body. Just coming home. Just really feeling this potent beginning in this moment. And letting the body find more ease. Just relaxing the grip of tensed muscles. And then beginning to bring attention to the area around your heart. Just feeling whatever mood is here. I'm not judging if there's feelings or a feeling tone that maybe is not the one you would like. We're just welcoming it in this pause. Maybe sensing into whatever your heart is longing. Maybe it's longing for ease or more time for yourself, connection. Begin to feel into this quality of presence in our heart. Our intention for coming to practice today to explore mindfulness. Noticing if there's any thoughts coming and going. You might notice thoughts about the future, thoughts about the past. So without getting caught up in the thoughts, we're just simply noticing, thinking, feelings, sensations in the body. This full presence to whatever's here. The mind starts to wander, which it will sometimes. You can just gently come back and take a pause and open back up to what's happening now. Again, listening to whatever is coming up in your field of awareness, breath, sensations in the body, feelings, thoughts. Checking back into your heart, your tender heart. Just bringing kind attention to this area. See how coming into presence is affecting you right now, your heart. I'd like to invite you now to stay in your heart center for a little while. And we'll do that by just activating a little guided imagery here. And call into your mind someone you love. This could be a family member, a friend, your beloved dog or cat. When you bring this being to mind, think about a memory where you felt love for them. Maybe it was something you did together. Maybe it was a way that they looked at you, their smile. And let yourself just feel love for this person or this beloved pet. Just pausing and just feeling your heart space. Maybe sensing joy or connection that you have with them. Just opening yourself up in this present moment to joy and connection. And once you feel really present with this feeling, maybe you notice it in your heart space, maybe you notice it throughout your body. You can just gently let go of your image of the person or beloved pet and just focus entirely on the feeling of love. Just allowing yourself now to rest in the presence of love. Feeling the energy of love in your body, within your heart. Let this love radiate through the body with each breath. Feeling yourself as love. Notice how the sensations of love stay in you even after you let go of a particular beloved person. The sense of love originating from you, within you. Now sensing the quality of presence that's here. Maybe noticing the difference between right now and perhaps when you first arrived. That there's this quality of here-ness, more of a awake heart. And scanning your body once more, noticing how your body feels after this presence practice, this mindfulness practice. Notice your breath. As your breath slow down, found a gentle rhythm. Noticing the quality of your thoughts now. Maybe they've slowed down a little too. And then setting an intention for the next hour, few hours of your day. The third P of proceed, just thinking about how do I want to proceed today? how can this practice inform me of how I want to be, how I want to feel? Maybe there's a sense of being more patient, more open, maybe more gentle with yourself. And if nothing comes, just trusting perhaps that you'll recognize a moment of grace where you've come into presence just spontaneously, taken a breath or a sacred pause to feel your feet on the floor. I'd like to end our practice with another poem. You can keep your eyes open or closed here as we finish our practice. This is a poem by David White called Enough. Enough. These words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here, this opening to the life we have refused again and again until now. Until now. If your eyes are closed, you can open them back up in the spirit of May and spring, my favorite, absolute favorite flower of lilacs. Hopefully that's another place to take a sacred pause today. So I really appreciate you all coming today. I'm happy if anyone has any questions in the chat or comments, be happy to hear from any of you, but I'm really appreciative of this week, this opportunity to reflect on how to take care of ourselves, right? And coming into presence, taking that sacred pause is something we can do over and over again, a couple of moments each day. So perhaps thinking about how to integrate even a few more of those each day. Will this be a series? Oh, so we do, so every week through LCL, I do a 20-minute practice on Tuesdays, free. And so you can sign up and hop on anytime you would like. So we do have an ongoing class, not even class, we just kind of practice together and I do a little teaching. So you'd be happy for any and all of you to join that. And that's just through our website. You can sign up. So and I know I see some of you that come regularly, so thank you all for coming. Do I have another link? Yes, I can put that link in right now. Thank you for asking. So that link, and it's the same link every week for that. All right. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week and continue to take some time for yourself to practice. I look forward to seeing many of you again, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. All right. Thank you all. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.